All right, and we are gonna get started here. Rook, you want to hit us with your recap?
Last week, our magnificent bastards barely managed to save the life of Nathan's daughter. Incredibly fast, the Strigoi took a big bite out of her shoulder before Cecil, Rick, and Nathan were able to drive it away. Rick did not fully roll the Strigoi. Nathan stops the worst of the bleeding with his medical skills, and Cecil races them to the hospital to ensure she has the best chance of survival. She does survive, though she remains in critical condition. Victor, working behind the scenes to discover what kind of trouble the team might be in for, learns that MI5 is taking notice of the cell's activities and gives warning. The team collects the weapons to use against the Strigoi. Custom airsoft nail guns made by Rick, special pig's blood to ensure it can be tracked if it flees. Vanessa goes to the sewers to hunt the vampire alone, dressed as the teen that the Strigoi wants to kill. The rest of the team isn't far behind to take advantage of the lure trap, but it is Vanessa who grapples the monster and stuns it with a nail through its forehead. But the Strigoi captured, right? With the Strigoi captured and flown back to Rick's penthouse, some members of the team treat it like a science experiment, cutting pieces off, draining its blood, and more, before delivering it to the Abbey's officers in ostentatious fashion, landing Rick's helicopter right out in front of the building. Despite their unhappiness with that, the Abbey sets up a fox hunt in the cell's honor, led by Nathan, to psychologically torture the Strigoi in the process of killing it. It had all of the horses and all of the hounds that one would expect from an old British fox hunt, plus an explosive finale for Nathan's revenge.
And with that, we are gonna pick back up in the whirlwind of a couple of weeks that have passed since the fox hunt. MI5 has made their debut, obviously investigating, first off, the drained bodies and, well, putting them essentially right on Rick's doorstep. Luckily, for maybe Nathan, he has been out of touch. All you've heard in these past couple of weeks is his daughter Chloe is currently in recovery, but it's going to be a long, long road ahead of her. And that is when we're gonna pick up specifically with Rick. Rick, what's the name of your dive bar, essentially?
It is called the Deerfoot.
So you've been to the Deerfoot multiple times since you've been here in London. It is a place of respite, if you will. However, there have been... The best way to describe it is a place that you look at somebody wrong, you're gonna get stabbed.
Yeah.
However, one of your former contacts, frequents there. I'll use that word right now. What's this contact's name?
His name is Jonathan.
So, you have contacted Jonathan for a meeting, and that is where we are going to pick things up.
Rick looks different than what most of his team is used to seeing him. He's wearing just like a white t-shirt with a button-up, kind of like a plaid cowboy shirt, sleeves rolled up, little wrinkle to it. Doesn't look like he shaved this morning. Instead of the normal on purpose kind of look, it legitimately looks like he just didn't shave this morning. Wrangler jeans, kind of worn, but not the kind that are intentionally done so. Not the $1,200 jeans that are made to look worn. These are old, worn jeans. Pair of Ariat cowboy boots, and just a kind of a rough leather jacket over the top. He doesn't look like money. He looks like a guy who just got done working a very hard labored 9 to 5 and went to a bar for a drink. He has somebody with enough notice would see a small knife kind of tucked into his belt loop on one side. And when I say small, it's you can only see the handle, and it only sticks up a couple of inches. It's the kind that you would grab and hold, and would have a blade between your knuckles. You see that, and he's sitting at a table with his back to a wall, drinking cheap beer. Something like I would imagine something like Garth Brooks is playing on the radio, on the jukebox. The place is dirty. It's not even all like concrete and stuff. There's carpet in here, and God knows when it was installed. The tables are dirty. The place smells like smoke. The whole thing's just very not Rick. But here he is, and he seems to be enjoying himself. Kind of as the camera kind of like closes in on him before his contact joins in, you can even see him mouthing the words to the music a little bit, his foot tapping a bit. He seems to like it here.
Jonathan kind of sits down across from you with his own beer in his hand. He kind of sighs. So, what brings you here, old fella? Gives you a half smirk.
Hey, buddy. It's been a while. Do you know why I called you already?
I've heard bits and pieces.
Yeah. I'm hoping maybe you can give me a little insight. We talked to him a little bit. We gave them about as much as they gave us, or at least I did. But I'm interested in what they know, what they think about us, what they care about us. I've got a little bit that I can give back. You know what I've gotten into nowadays, and
Yeah, you've gotten yourself into some freaky stuff. I'll put it that way.
yeah. You know more guys than me on this though, and I've got a line on something that they don't think that they wouldn't think belongs here. It's dangerous too. Killed a few things. I'll trade my dossier for one you can get. I know it don't come free.
And what dossier are you offering me here?
So, you remember a while back, that thing that guy that got mauled in the middle of London by a fucking bear?
Yeah, something about an escaped zoo or circus animal, something like that.
Yeah. And then you remember how then it happened again?
A couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't too long.
No, it hadn't been long. I've got name, address. It's kind of a bear, buddy. It's kind of not. It's more of a thing up my alley than yours, but
Which begs the question, why are you offering it to me? Because, as you very well stated here, your alley, not mine.
because I know you know more guys like me. My team's not in for it, not on this one. So he's more useful to me as a chip than a target.
Send over what you get, or what you've got, the normal way. What are you looking for, though?
Look, the stuff they're looking into us for, I don't know what they think, I don't know what they know. But what we're involved with is from the other side of the veil. It's been handled, though. Thing causing the ruckus, the bodies that got dropped, it's gone. It's taken care of. I'm sure they tracked the explosion out in the woods, even if they didn't ask questions about it. That was the end of that.
Well, I don't know any explosions in the woods.
Well, that's even better then.
what I do know is, the old management has been removed. Let me just put it like that. There's a new task force that has been implemented. I don't know much about them. I don't have names. The only name I've got is Oliver Cullen. He's the... oh, I guess you would call him the lieutenant. Fairly high up there. He's the one running this particular operation. As for what they think of you, and you're going to assume they're your compatriots, you are classified as people of interest. Unfortunately, having those bodies dropped on your front door tends to do that to me. Plus, also all the weird inconsistencies with camera feeds from your floor.
Well, you know how it is. If too many people say the truth, we got bigger problems than weird inconsistencies.
True, however, it does look that cop that was dropped by whoever is starting to regain some memories, such as allowing you up the elevator. And, well, unfortunately the cameras don't show that, so obviously they're interested in that.
Yeah, weird. I know there's only so much you can do. But how much do they know about what's on the other side of the veil out there, man?
He pauses as he thinks for a moment. I mean, I'm sure they've come across it without knowing it. This new task force, though, is something different. All of their records are completely sealed. Can't touch them.
Sounds like, you know, there's a couple of alphabet agencies that buy from me nowadays. There's similar vibe. Maybe they know more than the old one did. I'm just wondering if shooting them straight might be the quickest way to get rid of them, or if I need to shake them a different way.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm telling you this as a friend. They ain't going away. There's something brewing, and I'm not necessarily sure what. I mean, the bodies dropped at your doorstep aren't the only ones that were dropped. I mean, there's more bodies dropping. Some of them money, even. So whatever's dropping those, I would watch out for, because they are of the same amount of wealth as you.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on my side of the aisle. It's a whole thing. Some of the old crew like to make a game of it every now and then. It brings a bunch of people into town that aren't normally around. They start poking hornets' nests, things get stirred up. A couple months goes by, it's over and everybody leaves, and it doesn't happen again for a while.
Well, this hornet nest has now attracted MI5 and things. If this game is going to continue, you're going to need to keep your nose extra clean and keep it low to the ground, so if it does pick up any dirt, they can't see it.
I can pass that on to my guys. How interested are they in the people holding the sticks? Because, you know, I'm not opposed to naming some of the other players. a little trade for some privacy. I'm working on getting the information needed for that.
He pauses as he takes a very large gulp of his beer. Yeah.
I'm gonna like, hey, you, ma'am, let's get 2 shots of whiskey, please.
Kind of shakes his head. Yeah, turning in people might seem all well and good. It's not gonna do anything. This new group. You talk about alphabets. I'm pretty sure they're a relatively new alphabet. And they have a very different skill set. They're looking for something specific.
Huh. Maybe I should talk to him again then. Might be able to play ball.
With that,
They don't care.
Oh, go ahead.
If they're less interested in the players and more interested in using them, and more interested in using the players that are in the game to get to something specific, I might be able to make money off of it. Can definitely maybe use it. Just got to get them to open up.
Okay, and with that, let's go ahead and move on to Vanessa. Vanessa,
Yeah.
how exactly did you handle MI5's approach? Because that's going to determine where you start off.
Probably like how I handle the police most of the time.
Punching them
my
in the back
lawyers
of the
have not this time. That was I'd like to do that more often, but sadly circumstances don't allow that. Yeah, her lawyers have probably drilled into her exactly what to do if she's ever questioned by any sort of authority whatsoever. And she shuts the fuck up. She does not she's like, am I being detained? Am I being arrested? Like, am I free to go? And like, if they're like keeping her there, she's like, she's not saying a goddamn word until her lawyer arrives. Yeah. She doesn't fall for that like good cop, bad cop crap. She's had that happen to her a number of times already, and she knows what to do.
So with that, the past couple of weeks have been... The phrase I'm going to use here is a very carefully crafted word called difficult. The MI5 agents have not given you a moment's of respite. You turn around the corner, there's their unmarked vehicle, the same one that's been with you for the past couple of weeks.
Nice.
So you are being aggressively followed and tracked.
You've got a bodyguard. Congratulations.
Yeah.
How exactly does that change your day-to-day activities?
Probably not a lot. She's probably been hitting the gym a lot more often. But that's probably got nothing to do with the MI5 or anything. Yeah. Every time she sees it, she always makes sure to give them the bird. She's probably like spoken to her lawyers about it as well. And see like what legal avenues she has against them as well. See, yeah.
Unfortunately, from the phone call of your lawyer,
Lawyers.
yeah, lawyers, the most recent phone call that you're currently receiving, and it just gotten off the phone with, pretty much told you that they are playing things very by the book. They have interest in yourself, Rick, to a lesser extent, Nathan, Cecil, Victor, and Nora, but they're still on the list, so to speak. And your lawyer has also allowed you to know that the next time you are approached, they will be fully detaining you for questioning. For further questioning. Let me phrase that properly.
Nice. Yeah, in short, she's been not easy for MI5. She doesn't respect any authority figure whatsoever.
I do
yeah.
have one big question that I do want to ask.
Hmm?
When this MI5 agent comes up and flashes their badge at Vanessa, I want to get a perception check from you.
Hopefully. Doop. 0 successes.
As the badge flashes, all you read is it does state MI5. However, there is a string of letters underneath. You only catch one of them. You catch the first one, and it begins with the letter V.
I wonder what task force this could be. Yeah. Naturally, I want to take this guy's like number and like name. What's
The person's name is going to be a Joseph Brock.
okay? Is this like? Am I like speaking to him like now, or is this like this happened in the past?
Oh no, this is happening pretty much right as you get off the phone with the lawyer. You get off the phone with the lawyer and you look over at the car and this guy's getting out of the car and coming towards you. It's like, okay, this is happening.
Okay. I tell him, am I being arrested?
You are being detained, yes. Your lawyers have already been informed. They will already be meeting you at our location that we've set up.
Where are we going?
You're coming with us.
No, I asked you where am I going?
That's not part of what I have to tell you.
Man, Chad, more. Actually, nah.
I mean, we can do this the easy way. You just hop into our car, or I bang your head against the hood a little bit, you know.
All right, we'll do this the easy way. And I go up to him and headbutt him in the head.
Okay. Go ahead and
Sorry, he pushed my buttons.
go ahead.
He did threaten to bash into the head of a person who 2 weeks ago wrestled a vampire to the ground with their bare hands into a car.
What do I gotta do here?
Okay. Well, knowing your penchant for violence, I'm not gonna say he was caught off guard, so he is gonna get his defense here.
Okay, what's his defense?
7.
Oakley dokily. 5, 8. I'll spend the willpower.
I imagine like this exact scene is happening while like at the bar, Rick is like, I can talk to my team. Maybe we can work out a thing where we can kind of work together to keep
One
us off the
success.
radar. It's like simultaneous scenes.
So, yeah.
He's gonna. I'm gonna say that's at least a point of lethal damage.
I do have the headbutt merit.
What does that do?
Which that's actually a grapple move than anything. If we want to say this is a grapple.
Because
But the headbutt maneuver, what basically that does is it automatically stuns somebody.
I mean, if you want to make it a grapple, then you did succeed in getting a hold on him.
Yeah, so I'll probably like do that, and then since that was just a regular success. Actually, should have rolled 2 more dice in that case. That doesn't do anything there. Yeah, then I guess we have to roll the actual grapple since I just established it.
Yep. I was not expecting this person to get into combat so quickly. I should have calculated better.
Mine.
It was a calculated risk, but man, am I bad at math.
5 successes, extremes. Great. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, wow.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
no.
Who is responsible for Vanessa this week?
So, I win.
Barely, but not an exceptional
Yeah.
anymore, though.
So I do 2 things. I'll go with a headbutt and damage maneuver. So this inflicts the stun tilt automatically, and you take 7 lethal damage.
What?
The sheer force of me breaking his nose.
All right. This is what happens when this type of stuff goes down.
Aren't there only like 8 health ticks?
Depends on the person.
You just
Might
gave
go
that.
down.
You just gave that guy a beat. He's gonna get an XP point quick.
He is gonna be beat. Fuck.
Jesus.
All
Meanwhile,
right.
looks like, look, we don't want any trouble with MI5, right?
I am
That's not our
so-
goal.
I am so sorry.
Is he dead?
He is bleeding out. Yes.
Yeah. I
You
spit
feel
on him, and then I walk away.
okay. You should have waited. Oh, whoops. Hold on.
What is going on?
Vanessa's a badass.
Shot.
For now.
Hey,
Let's try that
Lewis
again. Okay, that's gonna be 3 lethal damage as you take a bullet to the back.
What? That's very
That would
cowardly.
be 2 bashing damage.
As the other person, has already taken a firing position over the side of the car.
Okay, should we roll initiative? Well, he's trying to kill me.
You literally... Okay, we're gonna put a pause on this and we're going to go to a less chaotic situation.
He escalated this. He pulled out a
Oh
gun.
yeah.
Cecil,
Yeah, the person with the gun definitely escalated that situation.
Cecil, how were your interactions with MI5?
Much like Vanessa, as
Oh,
someone
you attack
who
a guy? Shit.
no,
You kill an MI5 agent in the street?
no.
That was the end of Grog's appearances. So was it.
Right? But much like Vanessa, Cecil knows that since, he's an American raised in corporate culture, he knows not to talk to the police without lawyers present. So when MI5 takes him in for questioning, Cecil says nothing at all. Doesn't say hello, doesn't say his name, doesn't confirm his identity, just nothing. Just sits there and stares at him.
Not even, can I have my lawyer?
Cecil knows that the longer he's detained without being given his rights, the worse it looks for them.
Well, it was about 3 hours, let's just put it like that, before you were released. Very, very similar to Vanessa, that has granted you a very, very aggressive tail. How does that affect your daily life?
So, Cecil's aggressive tail in a car is going to have a lot of trouble following Cecil when he parkours his way down alleys and across rooftops and such.
That is true. However, one thing you do note is, while they're not able to follow you that way, they do seem to know your normal haunts, including the abandoned building. There tend to be cars always parked out in front of both your apartment and that particular hidey hole of yours.
Good, because there's more abandoned buildings in London that he knows about.
Fair enough. So just giving them the runaround.
Yeah, if they want to follow him, go ahead. Look, try.
All right. Let's go ahead and, now that we know what's going on with what you've been doing for a couple of weeks, let us see, Victor. How has your interactions with MI5 been?
I imagine they've been polite, genial. Victor is probably, he has connections within the police. No stranger. Though he wouldn't necessarily take the sort of hard-line approach of some of the others. I imagine when he's kind of first approached, like he's willing to engage in, some polite conversation, maybe even invite them in for a glass of tea. And have a polite little try to keep things from escalating, aggravating into that detention category, and try and generally just keep appearances and keep things polite, clean.
This has actually earned you much less of a tale. Yes, you do occasionally see the mysterious black SUV parked outside of the family house, but they seem to keep their distance from you. It is a much more, we're not trying to drive you into the dirt until we find out what you're doing wrong, but it's like, you're a person of interest, so we're keeping an eye on you. Should something happen to you, because, as they very well have pointed out to you, there have been a number of wealthy in the city of London that have unfortunately met their untimely ends for various different reasons. Some of them gunshot wounds, a couple of them seem to have been staked with wooden stakes, a couple of them even seem to have met their fate to a bear.
Yes, how tragic, how gut-wrenching, truly. What has London come to these days? I trust you fine gentlemen will get to the bottom of this and make sure that our streets are safe again.
Nora,
Yeah.
how were your first interactions with MI5?
I was totally helpful in a very unhelpful way. I think I talked the entire time, but it was all waffle. Like nothing of substance was in there. I brought up that Keanu Reeves might be a vampire, and that Paris Hilton's one of the lizard people. And I was just very friendly in a way, kind of like chummy with them. And I feel like I got them to like laugh along and just think of, I'm not a complete threat at all. I'm just a person that was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Very similar to Victor.
Mm-hmm.
You have a tale, but it's a much more polite tale rather than what Cecil and Vanessa have been dealing with.
And when I do see my tail, I will bring them coffee and make chit chat with them outside the car. Like, how's it going today? Are you doing okay? Yeah, all right, let me know if you need anything. And it was kind of hot in the car, right? It's the London weather's crazy. Like how I go, like the opposite of Vanessa, basically.
How is Elizabeth doing since she's moved in?
I think she's good. She's been gaining some weight from all the Scottish food Nana Lee's makes. Because you know how Scots are, is just they take everything out of the fridge in the morning and fry it, and that's breakfast. So I think she's assimilating quite well. Nana Lee's doesn't have to be alone all day. I have somebody to take care of my cats. It's like, it's fine. She's been doing good.
All right. Now, I do have a feeling that everybody wants to quickly get back to Vanessa. Because Vanessa just got shot. So at this point, we will go ahead and roll the initiative that you wanted to.
Shot me.
Say what?
Who shot me? Was it
The
guy?
partner.
The partner.
Oh, okay.
The guy that just watched you headbutt his partner and lay him out.
And destroy his face.
Yeah, that's probably actually the more apt terminology here.
13.
All right. So we are going to hold up. Okay, that's not too bad. 11.
Nice. Alright. He's next. I go to grapple him.
It is, he is on the other side of the street behind a car. You're probably not.
What's he doing over there?
He was standing
Gee, I
next to the
wonder.
car. If you would have just gotten into the car, he would have hopped back in, but, you know, that's not how this went.
Alright. Yeah, so you're saying I can't get to him?
You would have to go around the car or slide over the car, which that would require a roll, and he's obviously going to probably take another shot at you during that. But yeah, I wouldn't say you'd be able to reach him in another turn, at least not with him not being able to fire at least one more round.
Alright. Yeah, I'm looking for a merit.
You're looking for a merit, and I'm looking for something else.
Something else.
Is there a Dukes of Hazzard merit?
Yeah, I'll just try to get to him. Get to him then.
All right, operations department.
Since he's escalated this with gunfire.
You're sticking with that story, right? That.
Yeah, hey, this guy threatened to hurt me. I am taking this is like one outward, one defense. Attack, strike first, strike last.
It may be your last strike. Who knows?
It's definitely self-defense, though. The other person did shoot you in the back.
Oh yeah, well yeah. He threatened to slam my head into the car.
And
Yeah, you just defended yourself.
Vanessa's one of those like people who are like I'm a sovereign citizen. Like I'm not a citizen. I'm a sovereign person. Aren't you?
I felt endangered. These two men, I don't know who they are, came up to me, threatened me. I was looking after myself.
Hallelujah.
But yeah, I'm trying to get to this guy.
All right. That's not gonna.
If it matters, my speed is 11, and if it's the only thing I can do this turn, I get to move twice that amount.
I mean, that would get you there, definitely.
Cool.
So
I think if I'm in close, if I'm in that combat range, then I do get to apply my defense to his firearm attack then.
Okay, give me one moment.
I think it applies a penalty depending on the gun, I think. But it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so, what's your Oh, no, I need you to roll your composure as a dice pool.
Okay. What's this for?
Oh, in close combat, you get the weapons size +1 as a defense.
Ah. 0 successes. What's this for?
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure here. Okay, so it's resolve plus intimidation. And I will have him earn a point of willpower here.
He's desperate.
So, you are going to take 4 points of bashing damage, ignoring armor.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, I get a B.
As the best way to describe it is, it feels like a talon jabs itself into your skull and rips out a part of your brain almost. That's what it feels like. The immense headache that you get, and a little bit of blood begins to trickle out of your nose. And actually,
My.
Oh, he takes 1 bashing damage, by the way.
yep, I know.
No, he takes 1 bashing damage from me.
For what?
Hey, wind strike. Every turn he's like, so when engaged, your character becomes a storm, so threatening kicks and punches. Nothing can cut, is close as safe. As long as your character has a defense available and is not dodging, any Caraman character in arm's reach takes 1 bashing damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, at this point, I'm going to burn another point of bashing damage.
Mm.
That allows him to speed of thought, reflexive action, duration 1 scene, immediately moves to the top of the initiative order. With almost inhuman speed, he's away from you.
Is he gonna shoot at me?
He's moved his speed away, which his speed is 12. And yes,
he's faster than you.
And he's
I
gonna
will
take a
use
shot.
firing lines, and I spend a point of willpower, and I'm right there at him now.
So, what does firing lines do?
So if he tries to shoot me, oh, actually, I'll just take cover behind like something, like maybe the car or whatever. As this will, in some situation, character's best option is a tactical trick, especially if he's definitely bored of knife to a gunfight. He can run for cover as a reaction to a ranged attack instead of dropping prone. You give up your action for the turn, but your character can get to any cover that's within twice his speed. So I want to try like making my way towards him, but also get behind some solid cover.
All right, obviously the first shot, I'm not even gonna roll because the first shot's gonna miss. And with that, he states, didn't you just learn? That's not gonna help you. And give me your composure again.
Okie dokie. I will spend a point of power on this. 6 successes.
What the?
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Exploding tens.
Not that it will affect the die pool, but when you use willpower for a defensive action, it does only get 2.
Yeah, okay. So this is, once again, it is resolve plus intimidation. Okay.
He fails.
Just okay. You feel the same tingling, almost the same sensation, but it's just tingling, not pain this time.
Okay.
However, that... Oh, actually, hold on. Ooh. Also, I forgot to, Alright, this might come up now. What's the traumatized tilt? Because, I actually forgot to mention, yeah, it hits you with the traumatized tilt.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But all it does is the character suffering from it gains a +1 to all combat rolls, but you act last in initiative, and you cannot spend willpower in combat.
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
Cannot spend willpower.
Okay, well, as stated, I forgot to add that, and I also forgot to add another 2 points of bashing damage. It should have been 6.
wait, to me or him? Who?
To you, because it's +2 bashing damage as a weapon rating.
Okay.
Yeah. However, as a failure, it just doesn't do damage this turn. Okay.
All right. And then I believe I have to roll stamina, as I'm full on bashing. I succeed. I'm still up.
He moved his movement speed away, so either you exit cover and try to close the distance again, or you surrender.
A surrender.
Run! Run!
Or run, I suppose.
So he moved my distance. He moved my distance
Run.
away. I said like I moved behind cover, and I was like moving trying to move towards him. So it's still like I still can't get to him to attack him.
Nah, he is backing away. He is playing this very, very, like, he's heard legends and rumors of your prowess.
Okay, I will run away in this case.
All right. As you run away. Yeah. Give me your composure. He's making one last attempt here.
0.
Okay. 4 bashing.
Okie dokie.
Go ahead and give me that last stamina.
Okie dokie. 0. I'm knocked unconscious.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What's the current state of the man Vanessa headbutted?
He's dying.
Yeah, he's
He's bleeding out.
bleeding out.
We've had like what three rounds of combat.
It takes a few minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's probably gonna be in hospital.
However, this is not going to, guys are definitely going to be getting a phone call from, I'm assuming some of Vanessa's lawyers are familiar with the group and probably actually work for the group to an extent.
I'm sure at least like one of our lawyers on retainer knows. at
Yeah,
least
there's like
one
some
other,
information.
like there's at least one liaison between each of our retained firms that knows about all the others or whatever, so that information can flow.
So, you guys are going to get the information that Vanessa has caused a agent of MI5 to need facial reconstructive surgery,
Sounds about right.
and also was shot. and put unconscious and is fully, completely under arrest, detained.
I feel like I achieved something today.
Well, you didn't punch him in the back of the head
Well,
this time.
you did. You
Punch him in the
did.
front.
You did commit attempted murder against a federal agent in broad daylight in the middle of the street.
What? It wasn't
Twice.
attempted murder. I was just hurting. It was self-defense.
Aggravated assault.
I like to think that like Rick is still
I
at
didn't
the bar
attack him
talking,
with a
talking
weapon
with
or
Jonathan
anything.
when his cell phone rings. He's like, okay, and hangs the phone up and is like, I'm gonna need the bottle this time, sweetheart. We have a problem, Jonathan.
And I'm assuming that problem's name begins with a V?
Yeah, I honestly don't even know what to do with that one. I'm not gonna lie.
I would recommend you get everybody together and you probably need to start discussing this.
Yeah. I'll kind of nod to the bartender and say, I'll leave the dossier within the week.
I know where to look for it.
I know it's not useful directly to you, but you should be able to use it to buy something, especially around here. Kind of roll my eyes at the establishment in general.
I always do.
And as the bottle sits down on the table, I'll pour both of us another shot of whiskey. I'll take my shot and I'll just move the bottle in front of him and get up and pull out like a couple $100 bills and set down under my glass for the server and head out to the truck, which is like the camera follows Rick out. It's like 2020. This is like a 2003 like 4-door Silverado, and it's like a 250 diesel. It's worn out. It looks like it's done its time on a ranch. It's got like the gooseneck in the back. It's the whole thing, and it's nothing about it looks like it was made to look this way. It just looks like an old ass, like a really big old ass farm truck. He just kind of climbs in it, and the camera kind of cuts to someone else as he drives off out of Stratford.
And are you just putting everybody on voice call, or are you just calling one specific member?
I'll just I'll send to the before I drop. I'll text the group and be like, don't know if you've got the call yet. Expect one. V fucked up again. Do we want to talk over the phone or meet? If so, where?
And
Cecil would respond with meet, but wouldn't say where.
Victor? Nora?
I'll send a little like
Yeah, I think meeting is probably in order or an intervention.
So, at this point, I need everybody here, because if you guys are going to meet, I know everybody here has a tail. So, Cecil, you're going to roll me a straight... This is going to be for you athletics, because you are on foot. Athletics plus dexterity. Normal dice pool for both Nora and Victor. How are you getting to the meeting place? Because that'll determine your dice roll, but you guys will get a +2 to shake them, as your tails are not as aggressive.
I'm gonna put a couple Benadryl in the coffee that I give my tail. So he's gonna fall asleep and he's not gonna be able to follow me.
Ooh.
Regular Benadryl, or are we talking like stuff that you're not getting over the counter Benadryl?
Yeah, stuff that you're not getting over the counter, Benadryl. Do I have to roll subterfuge? Or stealth?
Intelligence plus medicine.
I have nothing in medicine, so we'll see.
-3 penalty.
-3 because of the unskilled.
Yep.
Mhm.
But wouldn't this be?
I think the question is dosing.
Yes.
I'm not gonna overdose him. I'm gonna just give him like a sleeping pill or two. Like nothing crazy. I just want him to take a nap and wake up and be like, oh shit, where's Nara? I haven't seen her in like 30 minutes. And then, I don't want him to die or anything.
Nothing crazy. I'm just going to drug a federal officer.
Yeah, and he trusts me because I've been giving him coffee for the past 2 weeks and nothing bad has happened this entire time.
Strangely,
I
this
can
is
get
one of
away
the
with
more
it.
saner things to have happened.
That moment in the game where drugging a federal officer with prescription sleep aid is one of the most sane things to have happened so far.
Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
All right.
I feel like it's a gray area.
Victor, how are you going to break your tail?
I imagine Victor is going to be chauffeured. Though Victor would likely try and pick somewhere nearby the meeting area, somewhere kind of public, to use as, I guess, a cover of sorts. Kind of, walk into the restaurant or the library or coffee shop or whatever, and just hang around there for a bit, and then just walk out the back door while keeping the chauffeur, parked on the street or whatever, and then just walk over to the meeting locale.
Okay, so
Out the back door.
I'll let both of you do this without a roll, just because of how I'll allow it this one time. Rick, how are you going to drop your tail? Your tail, well, it's more aggressive than what Nora and Victor have to deal with. It's nothing like Cecil has to deal with, or what Vanessa had to deal with. You're very much the middle ground. So go ahead and take a +1 here rather than the +2 they got and the non-boost Cecil got.
I imagine what Rick does is calls ahead and has his helicopter pilot that lives like within a block or two come over and be ready. And then what I'll do is I'll pull into the underground parking deck where they wouldn't be able to pull into because it's keyed and gated and everything. I'll just get out and then call up to the pilot and tell him to wait. I'll get out, I'll wait a couple minutes, I'll call up to the pilot and I'll tell him to take off and fly the opposite direction to the meet and just go find somewhere to land, that seem. Basically, I'm gonna send my helicopter on a false flag trip, the opposite direction, and I'll give the helicopter like 5 or 10 minutes to go away, and then I'll switch vehicles, and Rick will go around to the back of the truck and pop the toolbox, and take his kind of his rough kind of leather jacket off and pull out a motorcycle jacket and a helmet and zip it up and put it on and go get on his bike and wait a few minutes and just zoop.
All right. Go ahead and give me a stealth plus, or yeah, I'll go ahead and still make it stealth even though you're driving there. Dexterity plus stealth.
Okay, that's 2 dice. Dexterity plus stealth, and then I get a +1.
Mm-hmm.
2 successes.
All right. So you all managed to make it to this meeting place without your tails being any of the wiser, whether they've been drugged or led astray.
You
Or
say
just-
drug, it's such like poison in your mouth. Just penetrate.
This is probably the first time that you've all been together since the vampire incident.
Since the hunt?
Yep. With the government agencies breathing down your necks, it would make sense not to try and not meet up as much. However, as Cecil is the last one to arrive, not because he was late or anything, just foot traffic being what it is sometimes.
Everybody up to speed on what happened a couple hours ago?
Sounds pretty simple, but also makes things much more complex.
I don't know if I have enough money to buy her way out of whatever cell she's in. If they've got the balls to hang on to us the way they've been doing, then they're probably not viable. And she sent one into a very long recovery period.
And they shot at her on the street.
Yeah. But
It was self-defense.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Were you
that's how
saying
that
were you saying the
works.
cop was defending himself?
Yeah, probably.
No, I was saying Vanessa was defending herself against the cops.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Gonna teach these cops they can't boss us around.
Like, look, I'm American and I don't buy it. Okay, like, I'm from Georgia and I don't see a way to twist this one around.
They shot her in the back.
She caved his face in because he said he was detaining her.
Tomato, tomato.
Well, I have some information. The guy in charge of the task force running us around, his name is Oliver Cauldron. I don't think he's new to the scene, but he's new to here specifically. Everything's tight, everything's sealed up. I've got a buddy I used to work with in when I was deployed. He's ran with MI5 a bit, and he doesn't even know who they are or what they want. Like, not that I couldn't think, if he was willing to sell it, he still didn't have it. What I got from him was the name of the guy in charge, the lieutenant, and that they seem to be less interested in us specifically and seem to be targeting. They have a very specific goal in mind, and the things that the games have stirred up make them think that they can get it here. I don't think they want us. I think they want to go through us to get something.
They didn't want us to begin with, but now they probably do.
They certainly want Vanessa now. I was literally in the middle of a conversation about maybe if we could talk to them about what they wanted, we could play ball and get ourselves some breathing room when I got the phone call.
I do
don't
think
know
our
that-
hand has been a bit forced here. I don't see a convenient way out of this.
What about your people, Victor?
Oh, this this already is moved beyond my capacity to alter.
I was afraid of that.
Had this have been kept a bit more under wraps, so to speak, had it not escalated to this point that might have been a different story. But this is escalated above the chain of command, of which I have some amount of leverage over. If your information is correct, that there is something that they are after, some goal that only seemingly tangentially involves us as opposed to directly. I think you're on the right idea with trying to arrange something. And unfortunately, at this point, I think that may be our only option if we wish to keep Vanessa in our company. And given the situation as it were, we don't have much of a hand to bargain with.
I was just running over options in my head, and violence is out of the question because that will only bring down more resources on our head,
Yeah,
which leaves us with working with them.
And these aren't people we can buy, so
it effectively means we have to carefully cooperate, not give away too much, but give enough that we're not targets.
Here's something that's interesting. They mentioned to me about the number of people with money, our kind of money, who have died, right? They mention anything like that to y'all?
But did they?
It would have been mentioned to maybe Nora, and more so, I know it would have been mentioned to Victor. Probably not Cecil, since Cecil has been less than cooperative.
So, here's one of them. So, my guy, he mentioned, or I might have been misremembering who was talking to who. Some of these people with money that are dead may be targets of the hunt that were masquerading as other than what they were. And some of them are probably casualties from other cells. Didn't your dad tell you something was wrong with this particular set of games? There was something going on beneath the surface that made it different in a bad way. Maybe I think those two dots connect.
You would be correct in that assumption. I've been
That's
trying
what they're looking for.
I've been trying to make headway into that ordeal, into that mystery, but we've been unfortunately very active and under a great deal of scrutiny. It's made my investigation complicated, to say the least.
I've been working on it my own way as well. I don't think we've checked to see what sort of progress I've made yet. Have we, Storyteller?
We need You've definitely had enough time to make another roll here.
I've basically been locked in my apartment for 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, you've definitely had enough time to make another roll, so if you want to go ahead and give me another roll.
So this is intelligence plus computer plus specialty plus asset.
Mm-hmm.
So the specialty is +1, right?
Yes.
And then asset makes it 9 again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then is this a thing you can spend willpower on? Risking willpower is only when you're like dealing directly with, but could I spend willpower on this roll?
Yes.
Spend willpower on anything.
Okay. And if I spend willpower, I get
Just 3.
I get +3 dice. Okay, so it would be, with my specialization, I'm +4 and 9. 5 successes.
Ooh.
Okay, so now I had asked you before, do you want to reduce the amount of successes required? You took the exceptional success bonus, so you can't choose that one again. You can reduce the amount of time it takes per roll, essentially.
That.
Okay.
I want to get to. I want to do the one that lets me get to what I want the quickest.
All right. So you are currently sitting at a total of 10 successes, about the halfway mark. Now, what was your research geared towards exactly? So I can, because you're at the halfway mark, I feel like I'm ready to divulge a little bit of information here.
Okay, so, Rick's been actively trying to gain access to the Abbey's internal networks. I assume they probably don't. I assume they probably keep a lot of their stuff stored on premises with on-prem servers and stuff like that. So I'm looking for what makes this particular set of games different enough to worry Victor's father enough to give him that kind of warning. Basically, what's wrong or what's different in the bad way. I would start over the weeks kind of steering that into trying to pull threads and find information, reading through personnel files and dossiers that I could find to see what may be MI5's target, assuming that it's connected heavily to the Abbey.
All right, so what you're going to be able to find is it's not something that was it's a fragmented file. I say fragmented in the mindset that it was a deleted email. So they had attempted to rid themselves of this email. It specifically came from Edinburgh, from Scotland, the first chapter house of the Ashwood Abbey, essentially Ashwood Abbey HQ, asking for a report update. And this report update was sent 5 years ago. There has been no, and from everything you can tell, there was never an email sent.
No reply ever?
No, yeah, they never, the London branch never sent a response. Obviously, the email is garbled, deleted data and all that. You're able to get that much out of it. It will take more time to completely, if it can even be completely restored.
Okay. So as I find, and basically what he'll do is as he finds those little threads, he'll start pulling them and following them down, that sort of thing. So I'll tell the group, I say, I'm wondering if London's I don't know another way to put it. I found traces of emails sent, and by emails I mean one. Ashwood Abbey, Edinburgh, headquarters, asked London for an update on something, and London just ignored them. And it's been 5 years. I don't know if that means something's gone wrong in Edinburgh and there was no need to reply, or if London's doing something so far off books. I don't know, but maybe that's a thread for you, Victor.
It does certainly seem to be something interesting. I'll, well, once I have the time, I'll start, following that thread and see what I can dig up with our original chapter. But enough about that. We have a more pressing matter at hand. Speaking of threads, I detest to play the devil's advocate, but there is always the option of cutting a thread loose.
Would we
I
have
don't
been able-
like Vanessa, but I don't know about just cutting somebody loose.
Would we have been able to take that blue creature without her?
Well, we certainly would have gotten more blood out of it if she wasn't around. If you recall, our reception with the Strigoi wasn't exactly the greatest, thanks to someone's habits, shall we say. Another cause for concern. Aside from the violent outbursts, that is. Though that violence certainly has its uses, I'll admit that.
I think the approach may be that we offer them cooperation, but we let them know that however incredibly obnoxious and chaotic Vanessa may be, she holds a skill set that we will need to keep moving forward, helping them. And the chances of them getting any sort of leveled cooperation out of most other cells is probably going to be slim, because most of the others are probably going to do what the four of us have been doing until Vanessa took our choice away.
So we compromise.
Right. It may even be that other hunts have been halted to a degree because they've been similarly hounded. But if we can buy ourselves breathing room with cooperation, we can move forward at a faster pace with the competition.
Imagine for a minute if we were trying to chase something down right now whilst also trying to lose the tails. We wouldn't be able to do it, really, with them following us the way they are.
I mean, we
Yeah.
have a lead from you. It's been 2 weeks and we haven't been able to make any moves on it.
Exactly,
Your
because
pod
they've
person?
been dealing.
I don't know, whatever.
Also, don't even think about giving up Vanessa. She's my girl. We're not gonna abandon her now. And I side-eye Victor, who I'm really shocked even suggested that. Let's just tell them what they would want to hear and get Vanessa out of the situation. Like, give them a morsel of whatever it is that they want and then lose them. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be that easy.
It never is, but it's better than nothing.
I've got
What,
to
are we
make
just
an
gonna let Vanessa rot in jail?
I mean, it's an
It might do her
attractive
some-
proposition.
It
Maybe
might
she
do her
could
some
learn
good.
something.
It's good to see how loyal you guys are. Like, if it were me,
Vanessa prison arc when?
I mean, I'm not saying we should do it. I'm just saying it might do her good. I've already said I don't like the idea of cutting someone loose, even if they are oftentimes a larger liability than they are an asset.
You say about the person that one shot at a vamp.
Right?
you ran her over.
She's fine.
I don't.
She brought an underage girl to my apartment and then OD'd on my couch. We're even.
That's fair. I will give you that.
She didn't even have a limp after I hit her with the car. I have fed flies on my front door now because of her. I mean, okay. I've got an information drop I've got to make to pay for what I got. I can put a note in that we're willing to meet. He works in MI5, just not the same cell. He can't do much, and I have to pay him for what he can do, and not with money. But I can slip a note in, let them know that we're willing to meet. Or we can just walk up to their car and say hi. But I feel like giving them a heads up, letting them know we're willing to meet, and then all of us, without losing the tails, all just go to the place at the time.
It might even help them lower their guard if we just, as a group, go to them and say, take us to wherever you want to talk to us. Like, not volunteering for detention, but like the show of good faith just to go to talk to them.
Coordinate it. I'll do it at noon tomorrow or some such.
Okay.
Or right when we leave here. We can just, I assume they followed my helicopter. How did the rest of you get away? I know you got away.
I feel like we
Cecil.
We should do this tomorrow because I need to get back before my tail wakes up from his nap. So.
His nap?
Are you also going to jail?
Did you knock
No.
out an MI5 agent?
No.
I checked my phone to see if the lawyers have sent another text.
You have no proof.
I don't
It's
want to know
fine.
anymore.
It's fine. I'm like adjusting
Go
my
to jail
glass.
together.
Nora's like Nora twitching, and she's like, "No, it's fine. I
fine.
can do anything. I'm fine." Okay.
All right, let's meet tomorrow with the MI5 dudes.
Okay.
For goodness. Okay.
And
They're going to be unhappy knowing that we all gave them the slip today.
They won't.
well,
Mine won't.
it
know.
all.
I
also-
think in comparison, giving them the slip is not much in compared to what Vanessa has done.
To be fair,
Be
if
fair.
they didn't expect it, then they're really bad at their jobs. Like, they have to know that a medium tail isn't going to keep eyes on us if we don't really want it to.
And at this point, I need to ask a very, very pertinent question. Where has this all been taking place?
I
know it is. I know it is close to where Victor's coffee shop or restaurant that his chauffeur dropped him off at, if he was able to slip through the back door and get there relatively quickly. An abandoned building, or is this more like just like Rick's bar, so to speak?
I would imagine either maybe like an empty for sale, like duplex or something, or house or something that, like, maybe we texted a realtor and said, hey, have this house unlocked, kind of deal. And, kind of somewhere on the outskirts, like in outer London somewhere.
Alternatively, considering the locale, maybe Victor might have arranged for like a private room in a restaurant, the little secluded, area for, reservations, or somewhere quiet that we can, it's not going to draw too much attention, but that we could get in a reasonable time frame.
Yeah, somewhere that's like, it's noisy everywhere but quiet for us because of all the restaurant clatter kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Like
That would make sense.
like the Soho House, you go in and you talk to the concierge, and they let you go up and use one of their private rooms whenever, if you have a membership, and they have it's like a hotel, and you just have rooms that you can hang out with your friends, get food delivered and stuff.
Or like maybe like a cigar bar or something, you know, when
Yeah.
you go in,
But,
like
like,
the
Soho
cigar
has-
bar and wine bar at the bottom, and then
It's,
like you go up the
bougie,
steps
you have
to
to
like
pay
the,
like what is it, $5,000 a year to be a member?
yeah.
All right, with that bit of information, a group of 6 very well-dressed. They're uniforms, but they are very nice uniforms. 6 individuals actually step into your room. One of them, his eyes are completely glazed over as he steps in, and as he blinks a couple of times, his eyes return to a very normal state, and he wipes a little bit of blood from his nose. So, you guys wanted to meet? The one wiping his nose is the one that says that.
Who are you?
Interested parties. And he flashes his badge at this time. Everybody, perception check as he flashes the badge.
Lost my mouse. There it is. Is that
Victor got
what is this
3.
perception check? I don't see.
Wits plus
wits.
composure.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Let's not add our computer dice. There we go. Nope.
So, everybody but Rick. You see the proper information there. MI5. Rick also sees that. However, underneath, in somewhat smallish lettering, is VASCU.
They probably buy weapons from my company, but not directly. They probably like have a shell company with a proxy with a something else that does like some weird, like there's like I probably wouldn't know the name, but they probably like own a thing that owns a thing that buys something from something I own that owns a thing kind of deal.
I don't believe we've had the pleasure. Victor, and he would kind of extend his hand to the gentleman.
The gentleman that just wiped his nose with blood, he uses his other hand. Unfortunately, it's his left hand, causing you to kind of have to, fumble around a little bit. As he...
Rick will grab one of like the silverware napkins and hand to him.
Thank you, as he kind of begins to wash his hand off. So, you wanted to talk? We're here to talk. And with that, we're gonna take our first break, everybody. And with that, we are coming back. So, this guy continues to wash his hand of the blood. And he doesn't put once he finishes, he doesn't put the napkin back on the table or hand it to anybody. He actually puts it inside of his coat. I'll take care of that later. So, talk. We've already got one of you guys rotting in a cell somewhere.
Yeah, Vanessa. She's a special case.
Might need to tell her to watch it, and
If Vanessa understood simple directions, she wouldn't be rotting in that cell right now. But she's useful.
How useful, I guess, should be the next question. Useful enough that you would put your life in her hands?
Done it before.
I was gonna say we have before.
It worked out just fine.
Well,
Look.
thankfully, all of our... And he pauses as he thinks about his next words very carefully. All of our digging has led us to one thing. She's not of interest to us at this moment.
So I guess that's what it comes down to. We've got a job to do. We've got things to do. You've done enough digging to know what it is, and you seem equipped enough to understand that we're operating on the other side of the veil here. You know the bodies dropped on the floor weren't us. You probably know what they were and that we handled it.
We know
You're not
that.
interested.
You're right. We're not interested in the creature that did it. We're interested in your organization as a whole. Every member. See, I don't know how many of you know. Your little organization tends to go overboard. More often than not. And we occasionally have to bring you guys down. Now, I don't have the full scope of everything, but I do know there's a certain party going on. And parties tend to be where things get a little... And he makes the hand gesture crazy. We're making sure that the level of crazy keeps below a certain amount.
So, the quickest way, it's more like a set of games than a party.
Oh, that
quick-
makes me feel so much better. That choice of wording.
The quickest way to get it over with is for somebody to win. Because as soon as that happens, everything's over. As soon as that happens, everybody else stops. We know something's not right. And we're just as interested in digging into it as you are.
See, here... he chuckles. An Ashwood Abbey member saying that something's not right with their organization? That is a loaded statement, if I've ever heard one.
Call it fresh insight.
Listen. We'll let Vanessa go. She's clearly not what we're after. However, we're not leaving, and our liaisons in MI5 are not leaving either. We're sticking around. They're going to be investigating the human side of things, the human way. We'll be doing our own investigations, keeping eyes on. Unfortunately, our MI5 guys lost you. So it's very clear that we're going to have to take other methods to watch over you.
Call it the American side of me. I like my privacy on occasion.
Well, you lost that. You lost that right.
All we want to know is what we need to give you to get just enough breathing room so we can wrap this thing up and do our jobs and move on.
You're not going to get breathing room from us. As long as you keep your nose somewhat clean, we can go ahead and remove the tails. And he raises a finger. However, that does not mean you're not going to be watched. We're still going to be on you like a fly on crap.
That's fine. We just don't want to put people who haven't seen the other side in lane or in the line of sight of wrong things.
And we want to make sure that you guys don't turn into psychopathic murderers and, put people on the wrong end of a shotgun or something.
You
These
haven't
guys
been
sound like
watching
the
us.
bad guys.
Yeah, you haven't been watching us for very long, have you?
Yeah, with the exception of Vanessa, none of us would ever do that.
I think, while rightfully justified, you've applied a few of the wrong stereotypes from the Abbey to us specifically. We are not the status quo.
At this point, he kind of eyes Rick up and down, and then he eyes Victor up and down, and he goes, "Some of you are."
We're very careful.
I've held my tongue, I think, long enough. What exactly is it that you want? We've talked long enough about the Abbey here. What is it that you are after? What has compelled you? So what has brought you here to have this conversation with us?
He kind of leans forward on the table and looks directly at you. What we want is to keep dangerous individuals off the street, those that have a penchant of going too far and crossing that line.
Do we know what a Ripper is?
That is the question. You probably wouldn't know it by the name Ripper. Kind of like vampires don't ever say the V word.
Okay.
You would know of Ashwood Abbey members. You would probably know of the most historically famous story in the Ashwood Abbey about the time that they picked up Jack the Ripper, and Jack the Ripper ran with them for a few years up until he returned to murdering hookers, and then the Ashwood Abbey had to go and take him out. You do know of other members. You've heard stories of other Ashwood Abbey members going across that line, no longer caring if what they're hunting is a monster. They care only about the kill itself, and, sometimes turn their weapons or knives on people who have nothing to do with anything. Sometimes even members of their own cell aren't safe. So, you wouldn't know the term Ripper or Slasher, but you would know of members of the Abbey that have fallen.
We know what he's talking about, though.
Yes.
Okay. If one of ours crosses that line, I'll put them down myself. I don't know what you think you know about me, but my interest is a lot more academic than it is adrenaline.
He kind of shakes his head, and that presents a whole nother issue. Listen, you're not getting rid of us. We are here to stay until, and he sighs, your game is over. So long as you don't cross that line and you play nice with us, we won't shoot members of you guys in the back.
How about you help us wrap this thing up sooner rather than later?
We have no interest in your game.
No, but there's got to be something on the streets you've got interested in seeing not be there anymore. The quicker this thing ends, the quicker the party disperses.
So what, are you going to turn your handgun to the roof of your mouth right here and now? I feel like that would make kind of a scene.
No creepy crawlies, nothing going bump in the night that's a little bigger on your radar than you'd like. We don't kill humans, so no, I'm not going to turn the gun on the roof of my mouth.
Listen, we'll let Vanessa go. She's in the backseat of our car. If she hasn't already put a foot through the window.
Can I roll for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rick looks at him when he says, did you let her out of jail and bring here in the back of a car that wasn't caged with bulletproof glass? Because
Yes.
she will punch through the window.
It is bulletproof glass. Why do you think we wouldn't? Why do you think we wouldn't have bulletproof glass?
Look, I watched her tackle and punch through a vampire skull, so, you know.
As
Your
now,
guy, honestly, he got off light.
and you, Vanessa, got off light. I mean, at least we asked questions, so to speak. We could have just made the assumption and put her down there. She attacked one of us.
Yeah, she's wild. She's not rabid.
I get the rope quality on this, by the way.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 more dice.
Successes.
Oh, yeah.
8 successes.
I'm assuming once you kick through the window, you're just gonna walk into the same building they went into to find them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I imagine, like, yeah, it's bulletproof glass. Who's gonna punch through that? And then Vanessa comes walking into the room and like, hey guys, what up, fuckface? You're gonna need a new window, by the way.
We got that. We were done here anyways. Might have a seat with your friend.
Rick's gonna pull like one of his cards out that has like his personal cell on it, and not like, and is just gonna offer it to say, if you need to reach out to us, maybe less with the spying, just give me a call. Consider us tentatively cooperative.
He takes the card, puts it in the opposite suit pocket from the rag that he...
I'll take that as a positive sign.
And the 6 of them make their way out.
What's happening?
Vanessa.
Yeah.
Seriously?
It's so good to see you again. How was jail?
I didn't get to go to jail. But, yeah, great to see you guys. Fucking laid one of them flat. Get to go to the hospital. What they want, by the way?
You might
To make sure
call
that none of us are trying to kill people in the streets, Vanessa.
the morality police.
Sounds like a bunch of killjoys.
You could say that.
I guess it depends on what you get your joy out of.
What do we have next? I don't know about you guys, but this has put me in the mood.
Here's where we're at. The tails are gone so we can work, but we gotta do things a little more quiet. They're watching. Normal human people are out of the way, and we can get back to things. We don't know how long we have before the other cells clear their tails and get back to things, so let's assume a head start and take advantage of it quickly. What do we got on your lead, Cecil?
I haven't had a chance to look into it.
Pod people?
His friend still looks like his friend, but doesn't act like his friend. So, possession or replaced with, I don't know.
Cool, like animorphs. I dig it.
All right.
It looks like our friend the werebear has made himself busy as well.
Yeah. Let's leave that one for now. He doesn't do us any good on the list. He's got other people's attention.
No,
His guard is up. I think he's still more useful to us alive for now.
Oh yes, I think he will be very useful.
That sounded sinister, Victor.
It's nothing. Just thinking.
Well, you may want to think out loud because I've put together a bit of a dossier on him and his wife. And that may be what I bartered for the information I got.
I have an idea. Something we can have.
What?
Those guys that we just met, they're not fucking natural. I reckon we take one of them to the Abbey, it's gonna be a fun time.
No.
What?
So
Are you
you-
really that scared of them?
Vanessa,
Oh.
how many of them did it take to take you down?
Who? One of them had a gun. Actually, both of them had a gun. But you see the other guy.
You know, if we wanted to take one of them to the Abbey, there's one in a hospital right now. I don't
But
think
you gave them
You-
the information on Werebear without talking to us.
I haven't given it to him yet, but it was the deal. We'd already agreed he wasn't going to be the corporeal. He doesn't fit any of the other criteria on the list, so we're not hunting him. He's already crossed he's already crossed the line and killed hunters. Somebody's going to go after him, and they're going to take him out anyway. We might as well get some information out of it. But I've got a week to deliver on the dossier. So Victor, if you've got plans for him, that's your timeline.
You're giving me very little to work with.
Yes, but I gave you those guys' lieutenant's name and a big fat thread to pull with your Abbey friends in exchange for a short timeline with a werebear that's killed a bunch of hunters.
See what I can do.
I was gonna go drop the dossier today because I didn't see any other point. But when you said you had something that in mind, I can sit on it. I've got a week. Mind you, I'd like the information to not be useless when it gets there, because that'll make the next purchase much more difficult. We've worked together before, but I wouldn't call this guy a friend. This was business. Bad business makes future transactions harder.
I understand. I'll see what I can do.
Rick's pointedly not looking at Nora.
Nora is just shaking her head the entire time in disgust.
So we need to get to work on Pod Person. Set up surveillance. Watch the guy for a day or two. See what we can figure out.
Maybe.
Cecil.
I don't know what we'll catch, but it's worth a try.
Cecil, you were given a photograph of this individual. Were you not, if I recall?
Maybe.
I think he was given like an iPad. Like the guy had put together like a really nice dossier.
Oh, that's right.
Like passed him the iPad. So there's a bunch of stuff.
So, would you have passed this around at this point, or would you have just mentioned it to them?
I think that would have been something that he would have occupied himself while we were laying low.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was something to mention, then he would mention it. But
Well, I'm more getting at, does everybody know what he looks like? Or is that not something you would have sent around quite yet?
yeah, he would have just been looking at it on his own.
Okay.
Because it wasn't like a priority. We were trying to lay low, not launch into something else.
Okay.
But now we're launching.
Now we are.
So I say, so you're the one that picked up the lead. What do you got?
So, on this iPad that Cecil's had a couple of weeks to leaf through and investigate, what do we got?
Name, address, phone number, social security. Well, what's the equivalent of social security here? Images of the house, images of the person, various different locales that they visit on a daily basis, lists of some known contacts. Most of these, however, do have the notation that they're not frequent visitors of his anymore, since the switch is going to be the word. As stated, it is a very nice dossier. It doesn't have like house keys attached to it or infiltrating his specific, security cams if he has any. It is very much some things a recreational hacker could pull up if given enough time and the want to do it, but nothing super professional.
I can do it. Probably.
So-
Right.
Are there leads that Cecil could put together from that, or is it just like kind of basic information about the guy?
It's basic information and a couple of like the changes that he's noticed, just basically how they've become a different person. It is relatively basic. There's not a lot of meat to the information, but you also get the idea that the meat of the information would be harder to portray in writing, especially if you only know one version of this person, so to speak.
Fair enough. All right. So after Rick asks Cecil like what's going on, he says, we don't have too much useful information to work with. Really basic stuff. His routine, what he looks like, people he talks to, observed changes in behavior, but nothing that I could tease out anyway that's really meaningful about it. So I'll need to go get it because it's back at the pad, but I've got a whole electronic file on this guy that I can pass around, let you all look at.
Okay. So maybe if we've got phone number, email address, stuff like that, maybe I can work on a little more direct access, put some spearfishing attempts together, see if I can get some access to a computer or a phone, and see what I can dig out of that. Maybe Nora could put those lockpicks to use. Go out and visit the property, poke around.
And I can watch him, but I don't know what kind of good that's going to do us.
Put some tail on him, see if he's going anywhere that's off the path from his usual previous places. Because if there's any abnormal data points, maybe Vanessa or Victor or Nathan can go check out if he's freed up soon. Just start pulling threads. I think what Rick's proposing here is essentially an identification tactic, or an attempt at one. Would that be the correct tactic?
Well, at first, before any of that tactic gets off the ground, there are certain other things that need to be dealt with first.
Okay.
That
Cool.
specific thing is going to be dealt with as soon as you guys arrive at Cecil's place. I'm assuming you all go together.
Yeah, probably.
Might as well.
As the iPad gets passed around, Victor, I am gonna need a check here. This is definitely going to be, according to the rules, a subterfuge plus composure roll.
Sure. Let's see here.
If you'd like to burn willpower,
I think I have +2 to subterfuge from the stoic condition with the werebear, hiding intentions. If this is what I'm getting at here, we're trying to play it cool.
yes.
All right. Let's see here. And you said it was manipulation subterfuge, or what was the attribute?
Composure.
Composure and subterfuge. Okay. The 7 days. 2 successes.
Okay. As you are handed what is essentially a iPad, as you look at the image, you are painfully aware of your intimate knowledge of this individual. You are also painfully aware that the person he was beforehand was I cannot put it in the same eloquence that you would, but a total douchemonger. And you much prefer this new personality he has obtained through means that he's never necessarily shared with you, nor have you really cared to ask.
I think for now Victor is going to try and keep this information to himself.
So, quick question: Do we roll or something to see if we notice any kind of reaction?
In this case,
Because this could also be an opportunity for Victor to resolve Stoic. By opting to
Possibly,
fail.
but I mean, how closely would you be watching each person as they look over the dossier? You know, like when the dossier gets handed to somebody, are you staring at their face?
No, not necessarily.
I will say Victor is safe from opposing rolls. This was more of a roll to see if he didn't just give a outward emotional response immediately, not an actual opposed roll like you guys are trying to suss out if he's feeling a certain way.
Fair. So yeah, Rick will take note of phone number, email addresses, if any of the places that he visits like any sort of favorite places he goes that are like retail establishments, shopping stores, coffee shops, anything like that. Anything he needs to put together a really good spearfishing attempt, to send really good, high quality scam emails where I want him to click a link. Same with text messages, reward point style text message, any sort of really good spearfishing attempt where I want him to open a link on a phone or in an email, so that I can craft those kind of things and start working on some spearfishing attempts to hopefully gain access, like if you're familiar with Pegasus, but like Pegasus style to his phone or computer or that sort of thing, so that I can start sussing things out.
You wanted to start up a identification roll, essentially.
Basically, I know that like the computer hacking thing is not one of the ones it mentions there, but that's kind of the I'm kind of proposing kind of an alternate role to an assist on that via using some of this information to gain access to like additional personal information, so I can see, you know, what kind of emails has he been sending since the personality switch, you know, what kind of text messages, phone calls, who to, that sort of thing that I might be able to as a support role.
Okay, so somebody else would have to lead this because from a mechanical perspective, you know what? Actually, never mind. I'll keep that to myself. Who wants to lead this?
Yeah,
Victor?
I'm definitely proposing like a hacking thing as a support, like a second.
Yeah, I think Victor wouldn't mind taking the initiative on this one.
Yeah, not at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, he doesn't have ulterior motives at all.
No,
How
not
eager
that.
does Victor seem to take the lead on this? He's actually he's led stuff like this before though. So
Yeah,
I did
It's
help
completely-
you. Yeah.
yeah, it's
completely in order. Yep.
I know. I'm just teasing at him.
I will help with wits and occult. Be my
Okay, so that's research.
yep.
So,
2 successes.
Can I do a computer hacking role as a research secondary for help?
Research or collecting evidence?
Yeah. Let's say that feels more like a collecting evidence thing.
Okay, I'll allow that. Nora and Cecil.
I can help with investigation and resources.
Kind of amusingly, all the roles are the same for Cecil. So, but I think the tailing the target is probably most up his alley.
All right, so
Is this a thing where you can risk willpower rather than spend it?
The lead has to risk willpower.
Yeah.
I have to risk a willpower, but you guys can technically risk as well.
Can we choose to risk willpower?
I believe so. Yes.
Probably, but I mean, this is just a roll to get him more dice.
Yeah.
It might be better just to spend a regular willpower, especially if you're already at full. There's not a lot of
yeah,
need for that. Yes.
I would say just spend willpower, not risk it. So if I can go ahead and get everybody's supportive roles here,
Wait.
because we're gonna do something a little different here.
Only reason I was wanting to risk is because I was wanting to get it to 8 again with my +3.
Well, we already have 8 again. It's a favorite tactic.
Oh, we do. It's a favorite tactic.
We do.
That's right.
Oh.
Does that apply to the side rolls or only the main?
Applies to support rolls, I believe. I actually got 3 successes because of
So
that.
if it's a thing
wait,
I have
that's
9
not
again
right.
on, and it's a favorite tactic,
What? Oh, ignore that.
You'd only take the
8
8
again.
again because that is better. It doesn't really get better than 8 again.
I think my spearfishing attempts were successful.
We have been wrong. Anytime the self performs these tactics, the primary actor's roll gains the 8 again quality.
Okay.
So we have been goofing there. Oops.
All right, so just everybody re-roll without the 8 again. It doesn't look like Nora needs to re-roll. Nora's good. We can just figure out Vanessa's successes just straight off of what it is there.
If I could just, if it's possible, I was willing to risk a willpower anyway, which would have given me an 8 again. Instead of spending it, and then it's the same. If this is something you can technically do that on, or I can re-roll.
Let's just go ahead and re-roll, just to err on the side of caution.
All right. So I'll only be.
By
9.
good roll.
I know, right?
It hurts.
That's all right. All right. This one's gonna be even better. I can feel it in my bones. Computer. 9 again. +4. Oh, it was not.
All right. So, Victor, before you make this roll, I'm giving you an option here. Everything can go through just the way everybody wants it here. Or you get a chance here to sabotage the roll.
Oh.
And
You know, I don't.
this would because a failure here is the same as a dramatic failure.
Yeah, I don't think Victor would go as far as to sabotage this. I think on some level he is probably somewhat curious as to the identity of this. So I think he would want to know, though he hasn't bothered to share his familiarity with this.
Okay.
What is the have you rolled for the secondary actors yet?
Yes, we have 6.
5, 8, 9.
9 extra dice? All right. Here we go.
Okay, and this is opposed by his
Wow.
manipulation plus subterfuge plus potency.
Did you didn't include your extra dice for your risking willpower?
He doesn't get that.
You don't.
Oh, okay.
On a tactic.
Yeah, you risk a willpower just to power the tactic, and you don't get the
Gotcha.
benefits.
Which that's
Ooh.
a failure, which is a dramatic failure. Automatically, because he risked willpower.
Which means... Okay.
The
Ooh, he takes
target
one of the
comes-
group of secondary actors by surprise with an ambush. It
With
automatically.
an ambush.
What happens? Who's the unlucky person?
Oh no. There was only one person in his immediate vicinity. Everybody else was doing things to him at a distance.
Yeah.
So, Cecil, you're generally pretty adept at tailing. However, you lose him for a moment. That is until he legitimately taps you on the shoulder, as he has doubled back and came up behind you. Can I help you?
What are your skills? Maybe I could put them to use.
Listen. let's not play games. I've seen you following me. Can we just be straight with each other here? And he's wearing just kind of a normal blazer type jacket. He opens up his jacket. No weapons. He gestures. He opens up both sides. He turns out his pockets. I've got nothing on me. I am no threat to you. I do not wish to be a threat to you. I want to know why you've been following me. I know your type.
Do you? What's my type?
Listen, I don't want to talk about this, and he kind of looks around. An alleyway / street corner? And he points at a cafe. It's a lovely cafe. I know you can afford it. Let's have a cup of tea.
I am pretty thirsty. Sounds good.
I'm gonna roll an empathy check here.
And is that wits empathy?
Yes, wits empathy.
I don't think it's ever a good sign when the DM giggles.
Oh, no, I was saying I was gonna roll wits empathy for him.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. Do you normally talk like a robot, or is that just a show you're putting on?
Wait, what? Oh, you mean like the nature of the responses?
Yes, he's referring to that.
Well, okay, so the dude knows that he's caught Cecil, and Cecil knows that he's caught, so he's just being like sarcastically playful. Like, so he's not playing it straight. Like, he's actually doesn't know what's going on here. He's just being a butt.
He gestures and, for Cecil to follow as he leads you straight over to the cafe. Assuming Cecil follows, he orders both of you a cup of tea. And he's like, look, I'm pretty sure I know who sent you. I harbor no ill will towards you or that man. However, I quite like it here. From what I know, the man before was an insufferable maniac.
Maniac?
Yes.
Are you suggesting that he was violent or otherwise mentally unstable?
Yes. And he sips his tea as he says that. And his answer is very curt. Yes. I am a much better replacement. And I'm sure I can convince you of that.
You probably can. That said, the person that you have admitted to replacing has friends who don't appreciate that he has been replaced, and they have noticed that he has been replaced.
Yes,
Yeah.
just as much as a person who finally decides to clean up their life usually leaves bad influences behind. I have done much the same, obviously for different reasonings. Well, not even really different reasonings if you come, down to it. Their way of life no longer matched the way I wanted to keep living. So, I decided to get new friends and new acquaintances.
You decided to go straight, like they say it in the old crime movies.
I'd like to think that I've always played it pretty on the straight and narrow, as it were. The person that I have taken over, not so much. You will find that all my donations they benefit other people nowadays. They no longer go to selfish endeavors or criminal enterprises anymore. I can give you the bank statements if you wish.
Are you familiar with the principle of self-determination?
He probably is. The GM for some reason is drawing a blank.
It's the idea that each individual has the inalienable right to decide for themselves what they are and what they should be. And it's basically like personal freedom encapsulated into a term, self-determination. I'm allowed to determine myself, what my actions will be, and what I do with my own body, my own time.
He made a foolish decision to try and... Oh, let's just call it what it is, and he takes a sip of tea. He tried to hunt me. Summon me from the very bowels of whatever. He made his decision. He knew the risks going in. And despite everything, I feel like I have made the best of a very crappy situation.
You're saying that you have completely taken over someone's personal freedoms and their own body because he brought it on himself?
Not only did he bring it upon himself, but he forced the same thing upon me. I didn't necessarily want to be here at first. Now that I am, I somewhat like it. I'd like to stick around.
So where's he?
These metaphysical questions, they get difficult. There is no proper verbiage here, but he is asleep would be the closest approximation.
How
He's
very
not
interesting.
harmed.
Well, that depends on your definition of harm. You are in his body and living his life and in control of all of his things.
Yes, I have made numerous contributions to good organizations. I have quit his addictive behaviors. I have gotten him relatively more in shape as he kind of looks at the body, kind of gestures to a little bit of loose skin on his arm. I would essentially say I have been a net gain for, at the very and he pauses and he goes, "You're gonna start bringing up his mind, his free will again, yes. However, you can definitely say I have been a positive influence on this man's body."
Except for the fact that he's lost his body.
He has not lost it. He is still here. I mean, should certain things happen, I would be removed and he would be awoken, I guess is once again the proper verbiage, if there is such a thing here.
If I'm driving my car and you force me out of the driver's seat and you start driving my car, haven't I lost my car to you?
According to the paperwork, no. I have no legal way of taking his body from him.
There's a saying that possession is 9/10 of the law. I don't know if you heard that one before.
Possession. That's a cute phrase.
A bit. Thought you might like it. So, you may have turned this man's life around. You may be doing the best that you can with what you've got, but the fact remains that you have effectively imprisoned someone and are keeping them imprisoned for your own gain.
He takes another sip of the tea. So, what you're saying is you would want a potentially dangerous individual out on the streets compared to me? Oh.
No, that's not what I want. But what I'm saying is that there are positive ways to fix negative situations, and taking away someone's life is pretty serious.
He kind of sighs and he finishes his tea. I'm getting the impression we are not going to see eye to eye on this.
Well, like I said, you very well could convince me that you've done right. But what you're telling me is that you have effectively imprisoned someone in their own body and their own mind. You didn't somehow send them somewhere else. I don't know how you work.
We don't necessarily study the rules and how everything necessarily works either. It's just part of us. Listen, if you want to hunt me, fine. I will not... Well, I would love to say I would not resist, but I will. In every capacity I have, because as I told you, I want to stay here. And I like to think, despite your misgivings about what I've done, I'd like to say that I am a net benefit. If you fail to see that or don't wish to see that, that is completely well within your rights, your free will, if you will, to do so.
I'm not the one that you need to convince. I was here just for some fact-finding, as it were. There are others that you would have to convince, and those others are friends of the person that you have taken away.
Well, if they decide to come for me, at least put in a good word for me.
We'll see how it goes. I can't make any promises.
He taps on the table as he places a considerable amount of money. We're talking... In America, this would be something in the realm of like a 300% tip. He kind of just shrugs and he goes, "Don't worry, obviously I've covered your cup of tea as well."
Is he tipping at a cafe? They don't do tipping there.
He's trying to impress the person he's sitting across of. Because the person he's sitting across from is, American. So I don't know.
Just, if your group does decide, just realize that I am, whatever your misgivings may be, the lesser of two evils here.
Probably are.
He gives you one of those smiles where he's obviously not happy where this conversation has led necessarily, but he's still giving you the courtesy of, it was a polite conversation. He's giving you a nod and a smile to end it on.
Fair enough. Cecil's just gonna sit And actually, he's gonna order another drink and just like watch him leave? Question mark.
Yeah, he just walks away and eventually turns down a street corner, disappearing from your sight.
And as he's walking away, Cecil's gonna pull out his phone and the group text and be like, "Well, he spotted me."
How?
Frowny face emoji.
Right? Frowny face, thumbs down.
Question mark? Question mark?
Right. Some things see better than we do. All right.
I'll text, are you okay?
I had the most lovely cup of tea.
Rick text, WTF is going on right now?
Crying, laughing face emoji.
and he'll text back, when I finish my drink, I'll be over soon.
Thumbs up emoji.
And so he takes his time and finishes that drink, and then I mean, everybody's in different places, aren't they? Since they're
I'd be at the penthouse.
Yeah, it's like everybody's working on their own pieces of the identification.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually.
How long has it been since the whole confrontation with the not cops?
The not
The not cops.
realistically, would have been enough time for you guys to head off to your respective locations and then begin research. So usually I like to say research takes a couple of hours to do, so
Okay.
Same day, definitely. Towards the evening now, though.
Yeah, just trying to keep track of time.
Yeah,
As now I have to because I have lethal damage, and that's always fun to manage.
So, where would Cecil necessarily head?
Well, so that was kind of my point, was that if everybody's in different places, he would add to the group text that we should meet. Which means that he would head to wherever his car is parked, I guess, and hopefully there would be a response by then, but when he starts to drive.
Rick will just send my place? Question mark.
Nora says no.
No, I say yes because at least if the ghost or whatever is tailing Cecil, he will get Rick's address and not mine, so that's fine.
Fair.
Yeah. Vanessa's response is, "Sure. Can I bring a friend?" Question mark.
No.
Yes. Don't listen to Rick, period.
Just get a smiley, winky face from Vanessa.
Listening to Rick would be a change in behavior that would worry me.
Well, given everybody's somewhat known location, it's going to take at least an hour or two for everybody to gather at One Hyde Park. Getting up to Rick's penthouse and getting themselves situated for what Cecil has in store for them. Throughout all this time, also, Nathan has been silent. Probably, you would assume, phone turned off.
Yeah,
We assume he's with his daughter, right?
We're leaving him the heck alone.
Yeah. Unless there's an extreme emergency, we're not gonna bother him. I imagine, like, yes, his phone turned off. There's probably like an emergency phone we could call, but we're not gonna go near that number unless it's absolutely freaking necessary. Would the like the Vascu, would we have shared that with each other? I'm the only one that didn't see that. Would that have been brought
I
up?
don't even have any idea who they are.
Yeah, Vanessa wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's alphabet soup on the bottom of a government official's badge. Like, what the heck does it mean?
So nobody would have told me. That's fine.
Just because nobody knows what it really means in the
It
universe.
doesn't mean anything to us.
Yep.
We don't have the back.
So,
3-hour time skip.
I said an hour, so not 3 hours.
Yeah, like I don't live that far away from you.
So, with everybody gathered,
All right, Cecil. What is it?
That's an excellent question. I do know that it is some kind of entity in possession of the body. It also mentioned that the guy was trying to summon it. So I don't know if this is some kind of demonic entity or if it's just a spirit of some kind, or it was the thing justified possessing him by saying that the summoning effectively failed and he turned it around on him. So I don't know exactly what it is, but it's some kind of entity without a body inhabiting somebody else's body.
So what you're saying is it likely qualifies as an incorporeal monster, aka number 2 on our list.
It does.
I think that it being in a body is probably actually a good thing. If we kill this guy, I reckon there's a good chance when whatever is inside of him doesn't go away. So we should be looking at capturing this thing. I reckon.
Victor, would you have any sort of I know your family estate has all sorts of collected information. Is there anything we could use as like a binding to keep it in the body so that it couldn't leave it if it wanted to?
I've dabbled in certain matters, yes. It's possible, in theory, an abjuration might be able to keep it contained. Whether or not we would be successful is another matter, but theoretically it's possible, yes.
with that, also, Victor, is your phone on mute?
I assume it's probably on vibrate.
You would be receiving vibrations from your phone at this moment.
It's so uncouth to have your phone dinging at people in conversation.
My apologies. And I'll kind of let the conversation continue and take a moment to kind of peek at it as the turn of conversation switches to someone else.
You know, there's a likelihood that this thing, while it's in him, it may be stronger than a person. If it's out of him, there's no telling what it may be capable. If we could bind it to him, to the body, take the whole thing, lock it to the abbey, and they could make a whole party out of the exorcism.
Go on with what Victor is currently reading real quick. It is a message stating, hey, we should probably talk. I just had a conversation with somebody that you might know. They were tailing me. I want to know if you have any information. Is there a time we could arrange to have a chat?
I'll leave him on red for now. We'll get to that later. Just kind of slide the phone back into my pocket. And back to the matter at hand. I would have to agree with you. I do think keeping it in, for lack of a better word, a flesh prison, is probably our best avenue regarding this. But until we know what we're dealing with, this is a tricky endeavor. More complicated by the fact that regardless of this entity possessing this individual, there's the problem that this individual has a life, a public life, and kidnapping him is a problem of its own. There are variables to consider.
Those who don't want us to be hurting people might not know that it's not fully a person. They might not take kindly to us grabbing him. So we would either have to loop them in on it and make them aware of it, or we would have to be incredibly careful with how we do it.
I think we looped them in.
I think we've told them enough already. And you'll give a kind of a side eye at Rick.
I think they're listening to us anyway. All being honest with them does is show that we're
Show that we have no loyalty. Show that we would just throw anyone under the bus.
I haven't thrown anyone under a bus.
I'm with you, Victor.
We don't owe them any loyalty. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying telling them something shows them that we have no loyalty to the Abbey or to anything that has ever come before. That basically we just are chaotic neutral and do whatever the fuck we want whenever we want. I don't think we should tell them shit.
I think that's the Abbey spirit right there. No, I agree. I don't think they need to know anything more than they do already. I might have some ideas.
I think the chances of them not being in on the conversation we're having right now seem fairly slim.
We don't know what they are and aren't capable of.
They walked into a room knowing that we wanted to meet them. We picked a random place at a random time in a random building. And they walked in 5 minutes after we talked about meeting them.
Did you talk about the meeting in the group chat?
No.
He probably just looked at my phone. Oh.
Is this going to be the point where Vanessa mentions the mind-ripping headaches?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they're psychic.
Well, when she walked in too, Vanessa had said something about they're not human, they did a thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And so they're
Reckon they're on the list of things to hunt.
they're not. We're not dealing with normal people. They're
Let's turn the table on this. Let's find out who they are.
I think one thing.
They know enough about us. Let's know a little bit about them.
I think one thing at a time, Vanessa. I think it might be a little too on the nose. I might have some ideas floating around. Something's coming together. But suffice to say, I don't think this is necessarily the time or the place. Something a bit more informal, perhaps. A conversation for another time. another place, perhaps. At some point, I would like to speak with Vanessa and Rick about a certain avenue that we might follow. But again, perhaps something for later. I might have something I might be able to cook up in the meantime.
So see what you could find out about branding a body to keep in a thing. I don't want to call it a spirit. Something maybe generic enough to cover a basis, but powerful enough.
Entity.
We would either need to, he said, loop in them. Hi guys. He just kind of waves up in the air. And make sure they know that we're not dealing with a normal human. They probably already do. Or we have to be extra careful. But I think regardless, the person is not the target. The thing inside it is. So when we take them to the Abbey, make sure the person gets let go later. Sounds like he was a hunter, yeah?
I believe so. It was. This is a personal favor of an Abbey member.
So, if he was a hunter, and he's friends with a member of the Abbey, and he's brought in, and this thing is excised from him, and he's told, you get to go now, keep your mouth shut, and that comes from the Abbey, then he walks free and he keeps his mouth shut because he doesn't want to cross the Abbey because he knows who they are and what they would do. And the Abbey, knowing that it's a hunter who's already seen the other side and is aware, has no reason to not let him go. They just need the thing in him first. It'd help more if we knew what it was. Maybe you can find something generic, Victor. Generic enough?
I have something in mind. Not for that. I'm going to be preoccupied for a bit.
Normally your opaqueness is endearing, but right now it's less so. We got a bunch of psychic MI5 people hunting us while we're hunting something possessing a friend of an Abbey member. What's got you preoccupied?
Something I'd rather not discuss at the moment. Given current company, perhaps.
All right.
Just, I'm not able to speak of it at the moment, but give me some time and I think we can have another conversation and broach this topic again. But for now, in polite company, leave that be.
Okay. Different topic then. Bearman. You said you had ideas for him. I got
I did, but something more interesting has come my way. And I'm not quite sure what I want to do with our naughty, naughty bear man.
It was one thing when he was killing some pimp that may have backhanded his girl a while back. It's another when he takes down an abbey cell.
Please, don't be so naive. This is exactly the sort of thing that we were engaged in.
We expected him to not be vulnerable, but to take down an entire cell? That's a whole nother thing.
We wanted to sabotage the competition. You got exactly what you wanted. Competition eliminated. Be careful what you wish for. Can you fault it?
The devil's in the details, I suppose. At least you have your legs still.
I do.
I feel like at this I'm texting Vanessa like, damn.
Yeah, we're just like underneath the table texting each other.
I picture like their private text thread is just one big meme war. Just GIF after GIF, no words, just GIFs.
Gifts and emojis, yep.
How's Cecil feeling about the tension right now?
I imagine like the MI5 agents, it's like it was wiretapped, like communications have like no idea what we're talking about to each other.
I imagine our communication is pretty heavily encrypted, but that may not mean much for MI5.
Or for psychics.
Man, we should just take like we should both take like a dot of like the language merit, just specifically for like in-joke memes.
Develop our own thieves' cant.
Cecil was at first suspicious because Victor was just outright saying that he's hiding something, and then he got a little bit upset because Victor was then like, because of the company that we're in. So Cecil was like, you don't want to talk about stuff in front of a fellow cell member, and then he put it together that, oh, there are psychic people who are probably spying on us right now, so he doesn't want to talk about it in front of them. So anyway, that's.
But
Cecil
when
was
is
on
that
this.
going to change?
Cecil was on this roller coaster of does he not like me? Oh, he's just hiding.
Aww.
Anyway. Yeah. So Cecil was like suspicious, and then hurt, and then okay.
You got on.
The whole like roller coaster of emotions.
But then
Sabotage.
the cherry on top was we found a werebear, and we didn't stop the werebear, which is, by the way, one of Cecil's aspirations, and now a cell of hunters is dead because we didn't stop the werebear. So Cecil was on the Victor roller coaster, and now he's plummeting off of the werebear killed a cell cliff.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make breaking point rules about that because we knowingly put people in harm's way and got someone killed. That'll be a whole thing later.
But Cecil is also stoic, so
He's shoving it down deeper.
Making a bunch of people waste a bunch of time chasing a lead they can't take down is one thing. Getting a bunch of people mauled to death by a giant werebear is another.
That was not our responsibility.
Stopping the bear was our responsibility.
And we chose not to do it, so the past is in the past.
Mind you, before we chose not to, that the group decided in majority that he wasn't worth our corporeal point. I wanted to put him down and bring him in and use the vampire for something else. When the group voted against that, I decided to use him as a tool instead. So, Victor, it wasn't my first choice. It was the best thing we had with it to do.
It's a tool. It's worked as intended.
Yeah. I think the tools, well, I can only stretch that metaphor so far. His life is short.
Can you fault it, though? If armed men invaded your home with the intent to kill you, would you not defend yourself? Is that not a risk? they were willing to take when they engaged.
And with this
there.
stake driving kind of right into the middle of the group here, I think this is a good point to go ahead and call this particular session. So,
Of course you would.
Jeez.
Because everybody's trying to be the one not responsible for getting somebody else killed.
so
Well, I'm not responsible, so I don't know why
No one
you
wants
feel
to take bragging rights over this?
with that, since Nora was the last one to chime in, how's Nora feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm completely dissociated from the situation. I think the tension is delicious, which is why I'm meme texting Vanessa, like under the table. And I feel no guilt whatsoever. Like, I think this has come up before, but I might be a sociopath. But yeah, that's how I feel. Pretty good.
How are you feeling, Mel?
I'm feeling alive, like right now. I'm like very interested in where this drama is going. I love that I'm not the only person that hates Rick now, so this is pretty great for me.
You were never the only person.
Vanessa, since you're engaging in the meme war.
Yeah, she's got some mixed feelings about what's been happening. On one hand, she managed to hurt a cop again very badly, and she's pretty high on that. She got hurt in the process, and now that like these cops are strangely threatening her, and she doesn't feel like the rest of her team have her back on this, and she really wants to like go after these guys. Yeah. But to follow up your next question, which I predict, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah.
Got to hit another cop.
Yeah, another cop. I should just make that like a permanent aspiration. Hit a cop.
Cecil.
Boy. Oh man. So, so Cecil does actually see where this possessing entity is coming from, because Cecil is not a friend to the Abbey, and he knows just how terrible Abbey people and their friends can be, so he's pretty sure that this possessing entity is doing more positive things in the world than a friend of the Abbey was doing. And so he's well aware that taking this thing down is going to be a net negative in the world. But at the same time, he still believes pretty firmly in self-determination. And so it's wrong for this possessing entity to be in the guy to begin with. So he kind of feels like he has to. Plus all the stuff that I just talked about a minute ago with all of his feelings about Victor and then the bear and oh my goodness. Cecil's having a great time.
What about you, though?
I'm having a much better time than Cecil. It felt pretty good to poke the bear in a metaphorical sense with this possessing entity thing. I was really curious how that was gonna go. Like, was he gonna start to grapple Cecil, or and then no, I'm just gonna have a cup of tea. Very well. Having a grand old time.
Rick.
Rick spent a lot of this session back in familiar territory. Information brokering, subterfuge, both political and personal, buying and trading things for what he sees as a net positive, reaching out to old contacts. He put some good shots in on Capri Sun, but for the large part, he wasn't a massive contributor. And so being able to pull strings like he used to do when he was in the field as an operative was familiar territory he was happy with. The tension in the group, he's less thrilled with. I think he really thought that most of the other group would be like, yeah, there was this corporeal monster. We can't use him anymore. He's killed people. How do we make him useful and keep him from killing more people? And you got good information out of him. Kudos. But instead, like, people are like, or at least one person is, seems to be upset about it. And then Victor, pointing the finger at Victor, pointing the finger at Rick for fault on that, when Rick's initially wanted to pull this bear off the street, was kind of irritating. So he's kind of conflicted, but I think he's in a place where he's focused enough on the overall mission and worried enough about what Victor might be keeping secret that he's able to kind of push it to the side right now. I think I'm glad nobody tried to make like insight checks on Victor around the cell members that died, because I might have been willing to resolve my stoic condition there.
How you doing?
I'm great. A lot of this session was stuff Rick was literally built for. So it was good to tap into some of that stuff. So I'm having a blast, and cannot wait to see what we decide to do with this guy.
Victor. And we'll keep one small detail secret. Don't worry. Don't feel pressured into saying anything.
Victor. At the end of the last session, I think he was fairly miffed at most of the party for the situation that we had gotten ourselves into. Vanessa sabotaging our vampire by drinking all of its blood, Rick drawing all that attention by helicoptering everywhere, just everything not going according to plan. And just things getting messy, and he was really starting to get that little spike of agitation of like, what am I doing? Like, why am I stuck in here with
these people?
That, how did I get myself in this situation? But now that things have taken this turn, now that these people have taken an interest in us, threatened the Abbey, Victor has let everything slide. Like, Vanessa, you're fine now. Like, there's no more blood, but like all of that anger and resentment has been entirely shifted to these people. And although he has not managed to say it yet, he is fully intent on bringing everything he can to deal with that situation. Now, the other situations certainly complicate things with the werebear and our possessive friend, but let's just say that Victor has some ideas with our possession friend that might be able to get us out of this bind that we wouldn't normally be able to shoot our way out of with these agents. The gears are starting to turn, and that frustration is starting to get channeled into more positive directions, even if he can't quite share the specifics with you guys yet. In due time.
And how are you feeling?
Feeling good, yeah. Things have definitely escalated in a direction I wasn't necessarily expecting, but it's definitely interesting.
And with that, we will see everybody next week.